Hi, and welcome to my step-by-step guide for applying for CSQ, Quebec, for your Canada Spousal Sponsorship application. There are around 8 steps. I'll be going through it one by one individually, and you'll be able to understand each step. You can pause the video anywhere you like to read and go through it, and that way it will be easier for you to read. I'll try to keep this video as short as possible, and hopefully you'll be able to understand how this process goes. So let's get started. Step 1. So the first step is to send your federal application to IRCC like everyone else. At this point, do not send your Quebec application to MIDI. This is how your application package to IRCC would look like. This is my application basically. Step 2. After getting AOR and sponsor approval, AOR is Acknowledgement of Receipt, you will receive a letter, and from there on you will have to apply for CSQ. This is the letter you will receive. This is the AOR, the Acknowledgement of Receipt, AOR 1, which you'll receive when you send your application, and the very first correspondence you receive from Case Processing Center located in Canada. This whole application, the Quebec one and the federal one, remember that this is a paper application, not online. This is your sponsor approval letter. This is how your letter would look like. You can go through it, you can pause the video and read how exactly it would look like. So basically, this is where they're telling you that the file is going to be transferred to Visa Office Abroad, and this is where they ask you to apply for CSQ. Step 3. So download all the relevant French forms in the undertaking application Kit A, which is without financial requirement. Kit A is the one you have to download. Not Kit B. Kit A is for spousal sponsorship, and for Quebec applicants there is no financial requirement when you're sponsoring your spouse. You can find out all the forms from this immigration website. I'll give the link in the description below. You can go through it and find the links there. Step 4. So step 4 is fill, print, sign, and post your Quebec application package now to Ministère de l'Immigration, de la Diversité et de l'Inclusion. So there's a postal address. This is different from your IRCC's postal address, so you have to use this one, and you have to make sure that you have included all the documents which are required in the checklist. This is how your package would look like. Mine was looking like this, so it's not a big application. Step 5. So make sure you pay the correct fees, which is currently is 284 Canadian dollars. The best way is to put Canada Post money order, bank draft, or check. There's an additional charge of $7.50 for that, and if you're paying with a credit card and your payment gets declined, your application will be returned back to you, and there is a possibility that it may incur additional charges to you. So just be careful with the credit card payment. You make sure your credit card is working fine. And you can find out more about the latest fees and its breakdown if you have more than one family members in your application. The fee breakdown is available on Quebec Immigration's website in the Family Unification section. Step 6. So you will receive confirmation from MIDI that your application will be processed within the given deadline. If there are delays in processing, it will be displayed on the website, family unification part of the website, and also they might inform you, or you may call them. This is how the envelope would look when it is posted to you. And this is the letter which states that they have received your application, and your application fee receipt would also be enclosed. This is the application fee receipt for the Quebec part only. If you're using a credit card, they'll also put a client copy of the receipt like this. This is how it would look like. Step 7. After deadline and successful processing, you'll receive one signed, dated, stamped undertaking application form A0546GF, 2 letters along with the 2 CSQs by post. This is the letter which principal applicant will receive in an enclosed envelope. This is the principal applicant's copy basically of the CSQ's approval letter. I've also added a French transcript and English translation, so that if a copy is not clear, you can refer to these documents for actual text. I felt the need of doing this because the documents which you receive are by post, not by email or through online means. That is why I thought this would be a better way of showing what the actual text is instead of scanned if scanned copies are not clear. This is a CSQ approval letter, but this time addressed to sponsor. One thing I would like to state here is that if you want English copies from MIDI, you can request by just putting a note in your application package that you want an English version as well for easy understanding. Here I've also done the same thing previously, that I've added a French transcript as well as English translation. So this is a copy of CSQ, which you will receive by post after the approval of CSQ application. You'll basically receive two copies. One is a Requérant, and this is client's copy, and this is the other copy. Which is addressed to Immigration Canada, IRCC. Step 8. This is an optional part. Inform IRCC via email, Webform or GC that you have received CSQ and forward scanned copy to IRCC. They should automatically get it from MIDI. Keep both copies, original copies, because you'll be needing it when you're gonna land in Canada. Forms and guides. This section will explain you what sort of forms you need. There are two guides, one for sponsor and one for a sponsored person. There are like 4 to 5 forms which you have to include in your application along with supporting documents. I'll put a link in the description to make you understand what forms are required, what are their names in French, and what are they called in English. You just need that guide. Just follow the link in the description and it will be easy for you to understand. I've also provided English version of the forms so that you can refer to it, but you only have to submit French forms. Final application checklist. So this is basically the checklist. There are like 15 items which you have to put in your application package, and only one form, which is the first form, you have to put 2 copies of it signed by sponsor, and then you go down the list and you'll see all the forms mentioned and supporting documents. Passport, you have to submit the color photocopy of the bio page of the passport, and that's about it. I'll also put a link in the description so you guys can just refer to it, and make sure you only submit French forms, no other forms. Final notes. So QA applicants don't need to provide the federal forms, which is the financial evaluation 1283 and employment source of income part. There are no co-signers in spousal sponsorship, so therefore leaves those options blank. Some pages of forms require signature individually, and some both sponsor and PA need to sign. Therefore, you need to make sure that relevant forms are signed. You may need to send the form by post. Best of luck!